When the route for the 2018 Tour de France was announced in October, there were a few raised eyebrows and concerned faces. This year's race has a little bit of everything from team time trials, cobbles, sprint days, brutal mountains and an extremely short 65km trip through the Pyrenees. With crosswinds potentially in the mix, there are pitfalls right from the start for the overall contenders, and Cycling News has selected some of the most important parts of this year's parcours. Here are Cycling News' 5 key stages for the 2018 Tour de France. Though the Stage 3 time trial will be a significant hurdle for the general classification riders in the opening week of racing, it's Stage 9 from Arras to Roubaix that will really put the fear into those hunting for the overall victory. The stage has a whopping 21.7km of the rough stuff across 15 sectors, almost all of which featured in this year's Paris-Roubaix. The inclusion of the cobble stage has provided a challenging selection issue for the team managers, particularly with the reduction of squads to just 8 riders for the Grand Tours. It also led to the unusual sight of several climbers testing out the cobbles during the classics, though some opted to stick to a routine recon. Traditionally, the cobble stages at the Tour de France have spelt the end of the hopes of some of the general classification riders. After a rest day and a long transfer, the peloton swapped the cobbles for the mountains. The first stage after a rest day can often be a perilous day for the general classification riders who don't know how their body will react after a day without racing. Even for those who are feeling good, this will not be an easy day out. The race's technical director Thierry Gouvenou believes that stage 10 is where the GC riders risk losing the most time, with 5 climbs including 3 first category and 1 hors category. The double whammy of the Col de Rome and the Col de Colombier in the final 30km is followed by a lengthy run to the line in Grand Bouillon. Prime parcours for a daring breakaway. This finale was featured in 2009 with Frank Schleck beating Alberto Contador and his brother Andy, while Vincenzo Nibali finished 4th on the day, more than 2 minutes behind the trio. After a 3-year break, the Alpe d'Huez returns to the Tour de France for the 30th time on stage 12. The climb is synonymous with the race and made its first appearance more than half a century ago in 1952. It's the earliest that the infamous climb and its 21 hairpins has appeared in the Tour route since 2003, when Iban Mayo took the win on stage 8. Before the riders can even consider the Alpe on this 175km stage, they must contend with 2 more hors category climbs in the Col de Madeleine and the Col de Croix de Fer, plus another second category ascent. It has been dubbed the Queen stage by some of the riders and will be all about the survival of the fittest as riders accumulate almost 5,000 metres of altitude. This day could spell the end of some overall classification hopes. It was stage 17 that raised the most eyebrows when the 2018 Tour de France route was unveiled last October. Short stages have been increasingly popular in recent editions of the Tour, and this 65km affair should set the final week alive. This is the shortest stage in recent history, though not the shortest ever, with the 1972 Tour featuring a 28km stage. While that day had just 1 climb to speak of, this one has managed to squeeze in 3, including the Tour's highest point, the Souvenir Henri Desgranges, the Col de Portet. With such a short day, it will be full gas right from the start. Get caught out on this stage and you could lose a hatful of time. The brevity of the day has led to organisers trying out some other innovations with a grid-style start that will ensure the top GC contenders are right at the front. Some see it as fun, others as a gimmick, but it will add another layer of intrigue on what should be a brutal final week. After last year's dramatic finale, the general classification will once again come down to a penultimate day time trial. With the final stage always a procession, this will be the last chance for the riders to make an impact on the overall standings. At 31km, it is almost 10km longer than last year's chrono, which should allow the specialists to gain even more time. Overall, the course is much more rolling compared to 12 months ago, but like last year, it includes a short and punchy climb. The 900-metre rise comes inside the final 5km and averages 10.2%, and will seriously hurt anyone who's gone out too hot in the first half.